Today is the 30th Sunday of Ordinary Time, Cycle C. The first reading from the book of Exodus tells us of God's love for justice. He commands the Israelites to treat aliens fairly and justly, as they, the Israelites, were once foreigners in Egypt, where they were welcome but later enslaved. God warns them not to exploit widows and orphans. He commands them to lend money to the poor without interest. If a poor man has to use his tunic as collateral for a loan, give it back to him at nightfall. For although it is very hot during the day, it is cold at night. The Lord hears the cry of the poor, the marginalized, the oppressed. If they treat them badly, he warns the Israelites, he will punish them severely. He threatens to kill them, and then their women and children will become widows and orphans. God is telling us, as he had told the Israelites, that he is concerned with the lack of social justice in various societies. Where there is no justice, those who are responsible will be severely punished. As disciples of Christ, we're not only called to develop an individual's spirituality, we're also asked to take up a responsibility to build a society of peace and justice on earth, which Jesus often referred to as either the kingdom of God or the kingdom of heaven. In order to ensure Christ's vision for our country, given to us by our founding fathers, is preserved, faithful Catholics need to become elected leaders while remaining faithful to the Church's teachings. Who are the poor, the marginalized, the vulnerable in our society who need our help? What are the unfair structures that deny equal opportunity or equal rights? The Blessed Mother, in various apparitions, have warned us that the killing of helpless, innocent babies by abortion is a serious sin and will result in castigation, punishment. Planned Parenthood boasts that since 1972, there have been over 60 million legal abortions in the United States. Such a large number constitutes genocide. 1.3 million babies a year. As St. Paul says, sinners glory in their shame. Imagine being proud to say that you killed 60 million. Who is speaking up for those who have no voice? Many women are tricked and forced into a life of prostitution in America and other parts of the world by a highly developed system which is known as the trafficking of human beings. Racism and prejudice are still alive. The rich and the powerful still exploit the lowly by more subtle means. For example, credit cards can legally charge you rates of interest in excess of 28%, which in other circumstances will be considered exorbitant and loan sharking. Greed, lies, and dishonesty have become part of our culture. In order to seduce us into buying things we do not need, the advertising media has brainwashed us into believing that we need lots of goods, luxury goods, to be happy. Many people have become selfish because they now value things over people. They believe that to have things is more important than loving relationships. The entertainment media mocks the sanctity of sex in marriage and never portrays or models the joy of a long-lasting, loving marriage. You know, I suppose you cannot create what you don't know about, what you don't know exists. We have to promote and support those shows and movies that emphasize our Christian values and boycott those which are offensive to the teachings of Christ. In the Gospel, Jesus tells us that the most important commandment is to love the Lord our God with all our hearts, with all our souls, with all our minds. What does this mean? To understand what it means to love the Lord with all your being, you have to have loved someone dearly and passionately. You cannot endure being separated from him or her. There's always a deep yearning to see his or her face or to be in his or her presence. You would wish to spend as much time as possible with the other. You lose track of time in each other's presence. If you love God with all your being, you will long for the Eucharist. You will be lost in prayer. Prayer which is speaking to him, God, will be a great joy. If you truly love, you would not wish to disappoint the other and would never do anything to hurt him or her or the ones he or she loves. You would not make any major decision without consulting the other. If you love God with all your being, you would not do anything that a loving son or daughter would do to sadden his or her parents. It would pain you to know that Jesus was saddened by your conduct. Sin would be a source of shame and something you would avoid at all costs. You would make the necessary sacrifices for the health, well-being, and safety and joy of the one you love. You will even make the ultimate sacrifice of your life for the one you love, as Jesus had done for us. Love enables us to be selfless. We can part with all our possessions if it makes others, especially the ones we love, happy. Our relationship with God, his love for us, and our love for him exceeds any relationship with another human being. God's love for us is endless and never changes. He will always be at our side. You know, love between humans sometimes fails, very painful. But love of God, we can always rely on and know that he will always